Artemis Toast here, and I made those two previous videos, kind of as a I don't know, just obscure countdown to today. Um, February 26th. It's 2017. Um, but 5 years ago today, February 26th, 2012. Um, two significant things happened in my life. I don't talk too much about my personal life on this, other than being the world's greatest guitarist and magical ears of honey. But the world already knows that. Um, so one thing I'm gonna be very brief on, out of respect, to my family in general. But 5 years ago today, unfortunately, I lost, a family member, a beloved cousin of mine, and I won't, you know, um, give too much information, but that was one thing that happened that day that was incredibly unfortunate and very sad. Obviously, um, but you know another thing that happened that day was I had my last drink of alcohol. Um, you know, so 5 years today, I've been sober. Never fell off the wagon, as they say. Uh, Never had a sip. You know, I only smelled alcohol in the air if it was near me. The closest I ever got to it. Um, and I'll be honest. Uh, I can't, obviously I can't take all the credit for it. My wife and daughter were an enormous part of my motivation to not drink again. You know, uh, but and another reason why I can't take full credit for you know giving up drinking. And it's hard. I know a lot of people that have tried that haven't been able to. Uh, I've known people who never got the second chance. You know that Sunday 5 years ago, which ironically today is Sunday. I was standing at the top of my basement steps, which are cement. I drinking a lot that day, like as I did every day. I was what they call one of those high functioning alcoholics. I was never belligerent or very rarely drove. Did most of my drinking by myself. Usually after my family went to sleep. Um, you know, so it wasn't one of those things. I never did it at work. I still went to work. It didn't affect my work performance or my work attendance. Even when I was shredding in studios and being a roadie for over 100 bands, as such. Um, but it was still an addiction. I was still an alcoholic because every day, 7 days a week, I drank until I woke up the next morning. You know, uh, and it was a problem. Once again, outwardly, it didn't really affect things, on the surface, But anyway, that Sunday, standing at the top of the basement steps, I was trying to take off my pajama pants or something to throw them down to the basement, for laundry. And, uh, I think about 3 days later, I woke up. You know, I thought it was Monday morning. I thought it was time to get ready to go to work again. But no, I woke up in a hospital, with my family near me, and then tubes sticking out of me, and the such. Well, once again, this isn't a sob story. Um, but what I was getting to is, it took me almost dying. I was fortunate enough to survive, that. I I cracked my skull. I got a subdural hematoma, which is a brain bleed, the fancy way to say it. Um, you know, I lost in my right magical ear of honey. I lost 80% of the hearing in that ear, which you know um, 80% of what I probably already lost from amps being so loud. So other than that, once again, I'm not complaining. I'm that is what it took. And I was fortunate enough to survive. And fortunate enough to see the responsibility that being a father and a husband, you know the way it affected them, you know affected me, and fortunately, um, the selfish act of drinking myself into oblivion every night, I gave it up. Once again, not a lot of people are that lucky. I could have not woke up 3 days later from hitting my head on the steps. But I did, and I took that as an opportunity um, to better myself, by giving it up. Um, and once again, I can't stress this enough. I know it's hard. That there's been many times for me where, I mean, it hasn't been easy. It's 5 years today. I don't give it a whole lot of thought. You know, uh, I mean, do I miss it? Not really. Sometimes watching a Steelers game, and seeing beer commercials, you know, drinking a nice frosty glass, but I could drink a nice frosty glass of water, which, and once again, it's just trying to it's getting over what is pretty much a selfish act, you know. But 5 years today, once again, not a single drop. You know, I'm happy that you know I no longer drink. Um, I understood the fact that I couldn't do it socially. I couldn't do it. I couldn't have a beer at a restaurant. I couldn't have a drink at a restaurant. Um, I knew that that would turn into as many as it would take until I woke up the next morning. Um, and then that, and once again, I can't stress this enough. I was so fortunate, and that I survived. What was very scary. Almost dying. Um, Another unfortunate side effect of and once again, it's bittersweet all around. Lost a beloved family member that same day. Um, you know, um, as a result of that head injury, I had a seizure a few weeks later, like 3 days back on work. So that had a effect on things. Haven't had one since, fortunately, but as a result, I have to take a medication for seizures on a daily basis, which fortunately, doesn't have any, noticeable adverse side effects or anything like that. The silver lining of what was a very dark day on many levels, in mine and in my family's life. uh, you know, I'm positive, about the fact that, uh, you know, at least in my small little corner of the universe, I tried to make something positive of it by, sticking to the fact that, I gave up drinking alcohol. Um, Much like with these videos I upload on a daily basis, um, this is, I guess a reason for it. This is kind of, um, a self therapy thing that allows me to focus on filming this and editing this, and when the opportunity presents itself, or depending on the video, making the music that goes behind it. It's something that certainly helps. Not only the family support, you know, and a tremendous amount of willpower, to be quite frank. That has allowed me to make it, to 5 years today, sober, uh, not a drop in 5 years, and so many more years. I see absolutely, you know, any chance of me, not sticking to, this plan of not drinking alcohol. The positive effects have been tremendous, not only to my health, not only to, just, my work ethic, just making the most out of the hours of the day instead of wasting them. Um, but, I digress. 5 years today, alcohol free. Um, there'll be many more. Rock on. Artemis Toast out.